Hello and welcome to the power of positivity. Today, we're going to be talking about how positivity and having a positive attitude can have a direct effect to your health. So, this morning, I have myself here with my beautiful guests, Aurea and Teecee, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, go ahead, Aurea.
Hey, Mary and Teecee, so good to see you by my sister, Momlink community friends here. I'm Aurea McGarry. I'm an Emmy Award-winning TV show host, producer, TEDx speaker, and podcaster of Get Celebritized.
Teecee, go ahead. Tell everybody who you are.
Yay! Okay, so I'm Teecee. I'm a systems automation and sales conversion expert, and I am so excited about this conversation because, hey, I am one definition of the power of positivity, and I cannot wait to get to this conversation.
Yes, and I'm Mary Massey, lifestyle coach and social media expert. So, one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about this is because there's so much going on in the world right now, and it's important to address the fact that we are constantly being influenced by external circumstances. That has a direct effect on not just on our personal lives, but also on our business and how we see ourselves. So, positivity for me is something that is learned. You grow up a certain way and you're influenced constantly by all of these external forces, but it's something that once you really learn adversity, you learn to shift your mindset into a more positive type of mindset. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have Aurea here as part of this conversation is because she's been through so very much. And for me, it's always important to learn how other people, other women especially, who are so much further along than I am, how they've been able to overcome and how they've been able to use their experiences and any adversities that came up in their lives and have turned it into something positive, something to serve others. So, Aurea, let me ask you first. I know that a lot of people already know your story, but I want to share you with my audience now and ask you, tell us about maybe a couple of things that happened to you in your life that were probably at the at the time that they happened, like you saw it as something that was probably really bad and you were so concerned, but you were able to turn it around.
Oh, Mary's such a great conversation. And yeah, I know I'm old, so been through a lot, right? I went ahead and I put in the chat another link for you because as you were speaking, that link will be relevant because I love this question. We all go through stuff, right? I mean, I am not alone in going through stuff. And just the older you get, the more stuff you go through. And my stuff started out when I was born and raised in New York City. And when I was 15, my dad was murdered by the mafia. So I had gone from being he was very wealthy Greek tycoon. So I went to having everything, living in Manhattan, private schools, whole 9 yards, to having nothing overnight. And I think I learned then that positivity, you said something very important. Positivity is a choice. But at 15, you don't always make right choices, but it was kind of, I think, ingrained in me. I think God gave me an extra dose of positivity. I think some of us come out with the glass half full or half empty by nature, and then we have to work on it as we go through. So I think I was born with a great overdose of positivity. I always see the glass half full. I always cheered everybody on. I always loved people, and I always saw the good in everything. So when I go through things like that, and then I escaped domestic violence, and then lost my mom to cancer, and then we'll get into other stuff later, I always just see the good because I always just innately thought it could be worse. And I always innately think, well, I'd rather be me than a child, or there's other people that do have it worse. So I've always felt very blessed in that way that it could be worse. And I don't know what to attest that to. It's just an extra gift and from God, an extra personality trait that God gave me that I don't have to work on that. I have to work on a lot of other shortcomings, trust me. But that one I just always innately see, wow, okay, what do we have to do? Let's because when my dad was murdered, I immediately just went to work, supported my mom. She got a job. We just kind of made it. Then I looked back and said, wow, did we just go through that? Kind of grieve later, and I get into action mode. So not sure where it came from, except for, like I said, just a gift personality trait that I've had from God for sure. But you said something very good. We do choose positivity. So as I got older, became an adult, I always choose positive. Doesn't mean we don't grieve. Doesn't mean we don't have negative moments like, oh my gosh, why? But then quickly turn that around. Don't live there. Don't stay there. But we have to do our grieving, of course.
Yes, yes. And one of the reasons also why this is an important conversation is because there's a lot of talk about toxic positivity and how people say that you cannot force positivity all the time. There have been several articles about that. It's like there's this toxic positivity that even when you're feeling down or when you're feeling like something like the world's on top of you and things aren't working out, that you have to push through and force yourself to be positive. So,
There's those stages of grieving, Mary, that are
yes.
really important. I don't know them all. I didn't get
Hmm.
study, but I know you have to grieve, and everybody grieves differently. Like mine's a delayed grief. When
Right.
anything happens to me, I lose a loved one, lose even my animals, my pets. I have a moment where I have to get the family through. I have to do the stuff. Like even when we lose loved ones, you have to go through the funerals and the things you have to do, and then later that grief. But the grief has to happen, and you
Yes.
have to be able to go through. You can't mush it down because it'll eventually come out. But
Mhm.
go through the healthy process and don't go through it alone. Don't fake being happy. Choose to be happy, but you can be happy even while you're grieving. Say, I know I have to go through this, but I'm going to go through it with family, going to go through it with friends, and then cry hard. When I lost my mom, I cried for 2 years. I
Mhm.
mean, heartbreaking cry. It literally felt like there was a knife in my heart. She was everything to me. And I had a 5-month window that she was going to die from cancer. And it broke. It was right after my divorce. And it was just a horrible time.
Mhm.
So I didn't fake happiness. I choose to be happy for my daughter, but still, happiness and joy are two different things. I had joy because I was still here and I was going to make it through, but happiness is another thing. I wasn't happy when that was happening, but I knew things would get better. But I really that was a tough one. So yeah, I totally get it. There's times when your heart is just breaking. Let it, grieve
Mhm.
it, and then get help and learn those stages of the grief and go through them at your own pace. Nobody's timeline is your timeline. That is for sure. It may take you 10 years to truly
Mhm.
get over something when somebody else may get over something in 6 months. Do not compare yourself and never look at social media as the truth. Like, everything's all hunky dory all the time. We know it's not. We know it's not.
No, we're real people. We know exactly how that goes. How about you, TC? Tell us about a time in your life that same question to you, that you felt like the world was on top of you and you had to pull through and grab onto that positivity.
So I actually wanted to ask Aurea a question, but I wanted to pause because I knew she was like in the flow of the whole conversation. So no, but I was listening attentively because I know that you're like far way older and you've had like this personal experiences that I literally like behind the scene get to learn from
Mhm.
every day. So before I answer your question, Mary, I know that yeah, I have to answer that question, but I want to ask Miss Sarah a question. Okay, what do
Sure.
you say about what do you say about keeping your thoughts, like keeping your feelings to yourself, especially when you're in this space where the people around you, you're aware that the people around you would not be supportive of what you're passing through, right? You're feeling all of those emotions. You can't necessarily say if it's grief, if it's sadness, you're just in the middle of emotions and you can't express yourself and you feel like, so I'm not being judged, I get to like keep it to myself. What do you say
Such
about that?
Such an excellent question. I hope everybody leans in for this one because this
Mhm.
is so important. I learned many, many, many years ago, and it's so true. You only want to like grieve up, complain up, reach up. I don't tell anybody any of my personal or grief, whatever, if it doesn't matter to them. For example, when my dad was murdered and people come to me a month later, 6 months later and say, "Hey, Ray, how you doing?" I don't say, "Well, my dad was murdered and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah." They're acquaintances. They're people are just saying, "How are
Mhm.
you? How are you doing?" And I say, "Oh, I'm doing fine." I don't say I'm doing outstanding. I say, "I'm doing fine. How are you?" That's small talk. Nobody needs to know your personal grief and what you're going through unless they are involved with your healing process, unless telling them is part of your journey, because there's no reason if like TC said, right? So, how are you doing today? And if I just had a terrible loss or maybe financial, whatever, why would I say, "Oh, TC, gosh, I can't believe this is happening and that is happening." Why would I do that? It's not serving anybody. So
Mhm.
it's not being fake to be cordial to people that don't need to know all your stuff and all that's happening to you. Grieve to the proper people. Like my best friend knows everything. We've been best friends over 40 years. She will know everything, but other people in my life don't need to know everything. So you have to have those good friends, those family friends that, yeah, you need to cry on their shoulders. They know everything, good, bad, ugly. When they say how you're doing, you throw up on them because same thing they do to you. But everybody else, it's not necessary.
Right.
Why bring the world down when they can't do anything to help you? They are not part of the solution. So they're your acquaintances, your friends, your community, just like we're leaders in our community. If I have somebody on my team or in my sphere of influence that I'm influenced over, they say, Ray, how are you doing today? I would say, I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. How are you? What can I do to serve you? And because it's not my job to be personal and tell everybody everything about me. So choose selectively who you grieve to, who you get advice from, who you lean on. And then there's others leaning on you. Don't throw up on everyone all the time just because we can. Be selective. Your life will be so much better, and theirs will be too. Absolutely. It's a really good question because too many people take that, how are you doing, as, okay, let me tell you my life story.
Yeah.
And I know that's happened to all of you. It's like, wait a minute, because it's overwhelming. Because if you all or somebody did that to me, I can't help you. I'm not in your family. I'm not a counselor. So you don't
like I have my own problems too.
Yeah, and I can't help because I'm not a counselor. And yes, I'll pray for you, but you just spent 30 minutes when we were just supposed to have like a 5-minute call, or we just passed each other in the hall, and all of a sudden now you've gotten all their luggage. It's like you just walking down the hall and somebody just giving you 15 pieces of heavy luggage. Here, can you
Right.
carry this for me? And you're like, where am I going? So be
Yeah.
selective. It's very important.
Yes. I would say don't ask that question unless you really want to know and you have the time. And I did a video about that not long ago. You can actually find it on LinkedIn where I said, it's okay to not be okay. It's totally okay to not be okay. But there are times sometimes when we do make that small talk. And there are times when for example, I might not necessarily say, how are you doing? How's it going? I might just say, oh, hey, nice to see you, and keep
Mhm.
going. But when we do have that time and we have that opportunity to serve and listen, then I might say, how are you? Tell me tell me how you're doing. And that's when they can, they kind of have that permission to go.
That's a big
Otherwise, just
difference, Mary. You said, tell me how you're doing
yes,
with a
exactly,
closer
right?
friend.
So that
How
you're
are you
giving
is
them
different.
permission. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're giving them
Love
that opportunity. So be selective with the way that you greet people. And this is for everybody else watching too. Also be selective with the way that you answer the question and read people, because it's become such a common thing to say, hey, how are you? Right? We just say it as a greeting. It's not like, hello, good day. It's
Mhm.
not like that anymore. It's more
Right.
like, hey, how are you? How's it going? But we don't really sometimes don't have the time to sit
People
there
need
and
to
listen
read the
to how
room.
it's
The old
going.
saying,
Right.
read the room.
Yeah.
You know if this person is a close, dear confidant, or if they're passing, hey, how are you doing? Great, fine. One of my friends back in the day, one of my mentors said, if you're having a really bad day or something's going on and somebody asks you, so how you doing? You just say, unbelievable.
Yeah.
That could be good, that could be bad, just unbelievable, and move on. But
Yeah.
just read the room. We know who
Mhm.
our friends are, who our confidants are, who our acquaintances. You're in the middle of a Zoom meeting or something, and the host says, "So, how you doing?" "Oh, we're all fine. We're fine." We want to move on with the meeting. We want to move on with the day.
Exactly.
Just we have to
Exactly.
use our smarts about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So now you're saying that there's really no point to feeling that just because you keep certain things to yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you're being fake.
Exactly. Oh, yes. It's like, you select who you're talking to. If somebody says, how are you doing? I say, I'm amazing. I'm doing fabulous. And I'm not. I just had a loss. Don't say that. Say, TC, thank you for asking. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Going through some things. Just appreciate your prayers. But thank you.
Yeah. That's a good
That's
way
not,
to put it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And if TC,
So
you know that you're not, let's just use an example, you're not one of my confidants, really close friends. You say, oh, Ray, I will. I'll be praying for you and good wishes and sending good vibes, whatever your thing is. Oh, yes, you're in my thoughts. Leave it at that. So on both ends, read the room. Whether you're the receiver or the giver, read the room. Don't say, oh my gosh, tell me, tell me. Read the room. Is that somebody that you need to dive into? Is it still, again, more of an acquaintance? Just again, reading the room makes a big difference.
yes, absolutely. So
Yeah.
TC, now it's time to
Thank
answer
you.
Yeah,
your
my pleasure.
question.
My pleasure.
I would love. Yeah. Okay. So I had to ask that question because I think I have been meaning to ask that question. But my story, I think it's pretty. simple because when you talking about the power of positivity, the first thing that came to my mind, well, not like I've experienced so much in my life, but I feel like this that's I think 1 year in my life was a year of immense transformation for me, especially because I was transitioning from being this super hard worker, all running around, free spirited, going round almost everywhere because, yes, people used to say I never stay one place. So I'm like always going everywhere to this, introverts, this converted introvert that literally has to stay put, all because she had to transition into being, an individual to a mom, right? And why I feel like my own experience is well, I feel it's unique for me is because I had to go through I had to go through the series of procedures, and so it was a very big it was a very big decision I had to make because it was going to touch both my lives and the lives of everyone around me. However, because of the complications around it, I think the only thing that got me through all of the procedures, got me through all of the medications, got me through, even to this stage that I'm in, is the power of positivity. Like I can remember I was 6 months pregnant, like with my boys, and like I was a total different person entirely. I was an opposite of myself, right? But I remember my doctor saying to me, you know that you can actually carry this kid till the very end. And I'm like, yes, I know. Because it was supposed to be, I wasn't supposed to carry them till, I think I was supposed to maybe like 6 7 months, right? And then go for CS to get them out, right? However, I feel it's the positivity I had in me because every day I wake up in the morning, I told myself that I was not going to be afraid, right? And
Mhm.
I told myself that I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I get these kids till the very end. And I tell you something, right? The fact that I was able to always wake up in the morning, tell myself good things about myself, even things sometimes I tell myself things I know I can't even believe, right? I kind of give myself this self hype because I felt like even if you come ask me how are you doing, right? The first thing that comes to my mind is even if you know how I'm doing, you can't help me. Like I felt like nobody can help me, and I was stuck. I was always, feeling so sympathetic about myself, everything around me. I was a total mess, right? But
Mhm.
I think the only thing that got me going was the fact that every day I wake up, I tell myself good things about me, good things about the kids that I have not seen. And I was able to get these kids 2 good 9 months. Like I literally went in style, had my makeup done, which I naturally do not do, but I had my makeup done. Like I was full of so much spirit, right? And my kids came out super healthy, no issues. I completed the whole term, and well, they say it's miraculous, but I say it's the power of positivity
Yes.
because I told myself that I was going to walk through the entire process without an issue. Like I was in the perfect shape. I know that I was speaking to Camille the other day, and I'm like, Camille, you know that even way during my pregnancy, I was in my perfect shape. I still had my good body. I was loving myself the entire time. Well, until I finally gave birth, and 1 year later, I literally went off my fitness routine, but that's by the way. However, I love the fact that I was able to pull through the entire process
Yes.
because if there is one word I'm going to give to the entire process, it was traumatic. That's the word. If you ask me, TC, what's that one word you would give yourself?
Mhm.
One word to describe your pregnancy journey, I would say traumatic.
Mhm. Mhm.
However, I was able to go through all of that phase, come out with my super healthy boys. I was so good. Everything was fine, like nothing happened, right? And I feel like after all of that, I sat down one day, like I was just in my room, and I was thinking to myself, I said, if I can come out, I didn't lose a child. Because, I think, when there is this negativity around you, right? So many things start going wrong, right? And for some reason, if you key into that negativity, right, so many other bad things will keep going wrong, and it will feel like, that bad thing is going to happen to you, right?
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact that I was able to turn it, right, for
Mhm.
good, that was me telling myself that if I can come out through all of that, I can literally conquer anything and everything just with the power of positivity. And so when you said, oh, this is what we're going to talk about, I'm like,
Mhm.
I haven't gone through so much in life, but you see, that phase is enough to tell me that
Yeah.
I really cannot see, that challenge that will happen in life that will make me feel like, I can't conquer it just by believing in myself and believing that I will be just fine. So yes, that's my short
Yes,
story.
absolutely. And what you mentioned there is very important because sometimes we act and we think a certain way because we are already conditioned to think that way. But there are a lot of people who are not like that and they have to learn how to change their mindset through whatever's going on in their lives. And what you talked about is like you fed yourself with positivity, you said good things to yourself, and you were stacking one positive thought on top of another. And that is one of the best ways. It's been scientifically proven that the mind has an incredible way of healing the body. It has the power to heal. Now, when you are faced with a diagnosis or when you're faced with some sort of bad news, you could easily give into that. It's easy to do that, but you have to meet those circumstances head on and say, I'm faced with this. I see it, I acknowledge it, but I choose to act in this way or to think in a different way. And by doing that, by just making that choice and being aware enough that that's going on, you begin to stack those positive thoughts. And that's why it has such a wonderful impact on our health, our mental health, our physical health, because the more stressed we are, the worse it's going to be for our physical health. And that's why positivity can really influence your health. As a matter of fact, I've written this before. I read this in an article not long ago that 80% of doctor visits right now are due to stress.
I
And
believe it. I
yes,
believe it.
they're due to stress. You show up at the doctor's office, you can't sleep, you're overwhelmed, you have all of these pains, even pulling the muscles in your back, like all of these things are highly influenced by the amount of stress that we are under. But rather than sitting back and thinking of different ways of coping, maybe having different habits, we go straight to the doctor and the doctor tells us, here's a pill for your, here's a muscle relaxer, here's something for you to sleep,
Yeah.
here's something for your stress and your anxiety and your depression. And I know that there are times when all of these things do matter and they do help. However, a lot of the times these doctors don't ask us about our lifestyle, what's stressing you out at
Never
home,
ask.
right? So that's why it's important for us to take charge and to take ownership of our life and to not look at other people and say, okay, look at how positive they are without actually realizing that this person has gone through so much and they've made it through so much, right? They don't look at their circumstances and give in. They think of different ways of pulling through. So, for those of you who are watching, whether you are watching this live or maybe you're watching the recording, I personally would love to know what has held you back. How has positivity affected you? How has having a negative mindset affected you? I'm personally going through a struggle right now in my family with my brother who has not been able to cope through all of the things that we went through as children, and it's affected him into his adulthood. So here I am, the complete opposite, and trying to breathe in positivity into him, and try to teach him, think of it this way, think of it a different way, it's affecting you so much. And now we're stuck in this situation that I don't know if we're going to be able to get through. And all I can do is just continue to, put him in God's hands and continue to look up. And I believe that's also another thing that Aurea, you and I have in common, that we see that we struggle, but we know that we can carry it all. So it makes our load even lighter. So
Absolutely. Are you getting professional help? Because I'm really a big believer in professional help because
yes.
it makes such a difference. And
Mhm.
being, people of faith, there's Christian counselors out there, there's pastors, there's all sorts of help. And me with nonprofits, there's all sorts of nonprofits too. They are overwhelmed these days because of the pandemic. I've found for different people that I've known through these last two and a half years that have been reaching out for help, that it can be a little difficult, but it's worth it as a sibling and as a family member to do whatever you can to find that right help. And it's going to take some work because just
Yeah.
not everybody's available anymore.
Mhm.
I'm telling the younger generation, get into the industry of mental health because you will never be out of business. They are so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That and teaching, good teachers, good doctors, nurses. We know we need all that as well. But that mental health is a whole new arena. We need help us. Don't encourage all of our kids just go into computer science. We need good counselors, good people, because they're very overwhelmed right now, to say the least.
Yes. Yes, and we all have to be that light to others as well, and when we do share how we practice positivity, how we make it a choice, it also helps others to see things in a different way as
Mm.
well. So I would love to ask you ladies, like, what are some of the rituals that you have maybe in the morning when you first wake up? The first thing out of my mouth is thank you, Father, for another day. I'm here. Thank you. No matter what goes on, I know that this is your day, period. That's it. Right.
I do the same
So,
thing, Mary, before my feet hit the ground. Thank you, Lord. This
yes.
is the day you have made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Hmm.
Because you don't know what the day is going to happen. I thank him. And that comes really a lot after my cancer. Because I remember waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, having to go to the hospital where they were going to do that open heart surgery and where they found all my cancer. That was such a scary, dark morning where it's like, okay, Lord, I'm in your hands. I'd never been cut open before. And that memory is like in my fiber now that when it's dark, I wake up early, the sun's not out, and it's that me and God time. Even if it's like just 1 minute, it's thank you, Lord, I'm awake again. And thank God I don't have to go to the hospital today.
Right.
So I really appreciate putting my feet on the ground out of that bed. It's a special memory, special feeling I have every single morning. It never leaves me now.
That's right. What about you, TC? Do you have some ritual in the morning? Maybe when you open your eyes, do you have any habits that you constantly perform?
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about what I do. I will talk about what I stopped doing. So I think there was a time in my life. I think there was a time in my life where impulsively, right? I wake up in the morning and the first thing that comes to mind is where's my phone?
Mm,
Where's your phone?
yeah.
And impulsively, like I'm not thinking of anything. I just wake up and the first thing I'm looking for my phone and I'm grabbing my phone and I want to check messages, right? However, that stopped when I think I woke up. There was the morning I woke up and the first message I saw was one very devastating message. Like that
Mm.
particular message screwed up my entire week, right? I literally started my day crying. I started my day crying. Like I was just hopeless and it was, I think it was a lesson. I think it was God telling me that when next you wake up in the morning, do the needful. Don't take your phone first and then get to say, hey, thank you for getting me up and all of that.
Mhm.
And I learned my lesson the hard way. And ever since then, um before I go to bed, I literally I now have a spot where I keep my phone, and so I just dump my phone there. So every morning when I wake up, even if I impulsively want to stretch my hand, I stretch my hand and I get my Bible. Right.
Yeah.
And when I get my Bible, I know that the next thing for me to do is to pray, and just say thank you. And so, yes, that was my lesson. And I heard, I literally learned that lesson a very hard way.
Ah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because it's the first thing that so many people really do, and I've done it. I try my best not to. On the days that I don't, I have the best mornings. But now what I do sometimes is I'll listen to gospel music to pump me up, to get me in that mindset. I bring the phone into the bathroom as I get myself ready and I'm listening, or I might be listening to a podcast or maybe some audiobook that I'm currently listening to. So this is all after I get up and I do my stretching and I do some meditation as well, because that's important to get your mind set right before we do anything else throughout the day. So, as we begin to wind down, ladies, I would love for you to share what you have going on. What can people look forward to? I know that we all have something exciting happening now as the year is winding down. As we're recording this, is December already, and I can't believe it.
I know.
So, I'm excited for 2023, and I'm excited for where the Mom Link is headed. And that's how we all met. We all met through this amazing group called the Mom Link, and we're all part of the $1 Million Mom Club. Aurea is a chapter president. So it's been such an amazing, beautiful experience for me because we have been able to collaborate, not just within our own groups, our own chapters, I should say, but also with other chapter presidents. And it's been wonderful as we continue with that positive mindset. We have to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with women who also bring that into our lives, with women that we can learn from, and women who can, see that maybe there's a little something going on, and they bring that encouragement. So I'm very, very grateful to the Mom Link for bringing us together, and I can't see where it'll go. So, all right,
Mary, that brings
tell
us
us.
all together as far as your happiness topic, because happiness is having sisters, is having
Yes.
collaborations, it's having friends, and just those people that you can just bounce ideas off of, and also people you do business with. And we're all so close in the Mom Link community where we go there first to shop, we go there first
Mm,
to find a therapist. Or TC, I know you do amazing social media work and things like that. So this is our tight knit community, and I think God made us all to need
yeah.
each other. And if we're
Mhm.
separated from the pack, we're more of pack animals than even dogs are, and wolves and lions, and all, because I'm an animal lover, as you can tell. We
Yeah.
need each other, and we're separated from a pack and we're alone. We're much more vulnerable, much to be taken over by defeat and the enemies of the world and stress. So stay together, get your tribe.
Yes. So tell us, what do you have coming up in the new year?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you only if you, Mary, introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to, too, because Teecee and I jumped on in. You're so sweet to give us the microphone, but we want to know about you, too, before this is over. So I'll just say real quick, excited about the end of this year, 2022, going into the new year, 2023, which is, thank you for putting up my TEDx. My TEDx was this past year, and it's about how to get through any adversary and still live your best legacy on purpose. So watch that TEDx because it'll give you hope in just 9 minutes. So worth it. So I help women in business speak for profit in all the right places. I'm teaching them how to do podcasting to increase their business and gain a fanatical base of enthusiastic clients that look for them, that seek them out, can't wait for everything they do to chime in and to buy into them. And a television network is in place starting 2023, where I'm starting my own Limelight television network for good TV. So if anybody's out there that has
Mhm.
good television, good things, or they're thinking they might want to, then contact me for sure. But we'll put up my Speak for Profit class. It'll be my last one for 2022. Learn how and where to speak for profit in the right places. Stop wasting time speaking just everywhere to everyone. We really niche down your demographics and help you make more faster and help you build your visibility, your credibility, and definitely your profitability.
Yeah.
So, Mary, thank you so much for having us here today. And after we hear from TC, I want to know about you as well.
Of course. So TC, I'm perfectly fine going last. So it's more about you ladies
That's
and
the
me.
best for last.
Go ahead, TC. Tell us what exciting things you have coming up.
Okay, so first, thank you. Okay, so I think this is the first time I'm actually having this with Miss Aurea, and I've been looking forward to, but however, I'm more techie, so I love the fact that I'm able to have this conversation with you and Miss Aurea, and the topic is amazing, and thank you so much for this space, Mary. So what do I have next? First, I am super excited about 2023, and that's why I designed my shop, right, to help women entrepreneurs launch, grow, and scale their business, right, using systems, funnels, and automation. But because I am aware that not everyone is in that budget space. Not everyone wants, someone, even well, you need an expert to help you get it done. You also want to have basic knowledge, right? You want to know how this is done. You want to know how you can get it for yourself. Because, hey, the fact that we always say it is very unhealthy to work in your business, it also very unhealthy to be clueless as to what is happening in your business, right? And that's basically what the shop is all about. So the shop has DIY templates, workshops, sessions, for your systems, to help you set up your systems, help you create one, help you set up your funnels, all of those good stuff in your business, so that you're working on your business and not in your business. So,
Mhm.
and if you feel, hey, I want to get it done by yourself, there are amazing resources in the shop that are super discounted. So it's not like it's discounted. However, it's my treat because I am super excited about 2023. I feel like everyone else should be excited also with me, and you
Yeah.
should do it the right way, the smart
Mhm.
way. That's the word. And that's basically what the shop is about. So you can go into the shop, get what you want. Like I said, they're just templates, workbooks, sessions to help you figure
That's
out your
amazing.
business, increasing your
Yeah.
revenue. So yeah, that's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that people can just go there and pick what they need, because there's a lot of women currently that are selling all kinds of templates as well, done for you templates for your automation or whatever you need. So I'm happy to see you doing that as well. And now for me, of course, I do a lot of everything. So I basically say, when somebody says to me, Mary, what do you do? I'll say, what do you need? Because I got you covered no matter what. So, as a lifestyle coach, I focus on mindset, nutrition, and fitness. So, I'm going to leave all the other stuff for later. But what I have going on now in the next few days, actually on Monday, I have my 2-week program. It's called the Transform in Two, and where we focus on, again, mindset, nutrition, and fitness, where I'm going to be going live every morning for, Monday through Friday, not every single day. Thank you. Monday through Friday, where I'm going to be dancing. I'm a Zumba instructor as well, and that's always such a wonderful way to bring people together. And I did so much of that when we had to shut down, when the gym closed. I continued my schedule on Zoom. So I was teaching all my Zumba classes, my HIIT classes, core, all of these things. So I'm bringing that back only for these 2 weeks where I'm going to be going live. So Monday morning and Wednesday morning, it's all going to be about Zumba. Tuesday is weight training. So if you're not used to weight training, or maybe you're feeling a little bit, self-conscious about what it's like to weight train or pick up the weights, whatever, I got you covered. And Thursday, we're going to be focusing on resistance band training. So this is for you if you have any sort of injuries, or maybe you're trying to rehab something. Fridays, it's all about yoga. I'm currently undergoing yoga certification as well. So I'm taking my time with it, but this is my way of practicing. And then Wednesday nights, I'm going to include 2 group coaching sessions. So the program is for 2 weeks. Wednesday night, we have one group coaching session, and the following week, we have a second one. You also have access to a ton of recipes, a meal planning guide, a meal prepping guide, I should say, a sample 2-week meal plan. So everything that you need is included there, including also a habit tracker. So there's a lot that I'm giving for this 2-week transformation program. So with that being said, I thank you so much. If you want to know more about the program, it's just lifestyle.marymassey.com. And I do have a lot of great stuff coming up in the new year. So I'm excited to see what the Mom Link has in store for us, and also what we all have in store for each other. So I'm looking forward to growing and learning more with everybody. So
Mary, you had me at Zumba. I love I miss my Zumba.
yeah, join in. And the other thing I forgot to mention is that everything will be recorded. So if
Thank
you
you.
can't make it in the morning, if you can't make it live, it's okay. Everything is recorded, and you can access that via the membership site. So once you are in, you have access to everything for as long as you want. I'm not going to kick you out of the program. So yeah, that's there for, and I still actually have a lot of ladies who will go into my free membership site. I have a free membership site called zumbawithmary.com, where I have all of my hours and hours and hours of recorded classes from Zoom. And a lot of them have moved away. And whenever they can't make it to the gym or whatever, they they'll just say, Mary, I just did one of your classes. I just did this. I just did that. So it's there for everybody to use. And it's a great way to just let the happy out. So thank
Perfect. I love
you.
that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Please make sure that you are following Aurea, Teecee, and myself. We have gone live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you need anything, if you need anybody to talk to, I personally am inviting you to contact me. I'm here to listen, I'm here to serve, and I'm here to guide you, and I'm here to point you in the right direction if I am not able to help you right away. So with that being said, God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week and rest of your year. I can't believe it's December.
See you next year.
Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.